This is how you can use MIDJOURNEY to create 3D renderings, high-quality textures, trees, human cutouts, and much more. MIDJOURNEY is a text-to-image platform that can create images from scratch or refine a base image using AI. Even though there are a lot of AI platforms available in the market today, MIDJOURNEY stands apart with its quality and its interpretation. It is currently in version 6 at the time we are recording this video, and it can produce some really good results. So in this video, we'll be looking at 6 lesser known use cases of MIDJOURNEY for architects, and these can save us tons of time. I'm Salman, an architect and an illustrator. If you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell icon for notification. So let's get started. Let's start from our Discord server, and I assume that you've already been using MIDJOURNEY. If not, let me know in the comments and I will try to make a video on getting started with MIDJOURNEY. Number 1 is tree cutouts. We all want to create unique trees and plant cutouts for our project presentations and make them stand out from our colleagues. Using MIDJOURNEY, we'll be able to create an endless number of trees, plants in different sizes, colors, and shapes. And trust me when I say endless. To get started with creating tree cutouts, we'll follow the same process as generating images with MIDJOURNEY. We'll use the /imagine command and type in the prompt to create. Let's try creating cutouts of different species of trees in a realistic way. And the prompt for this will be different species of trees, detailed photorealistic, turnaround page, white background. Now the last two terms, which is turnaround page and white background, are really important in helping us create these elements. Now if you don't know what a turnaround page is, it's a term used in character design to show a same character in multiple angles. So each element is arranged one next to the other. We'll use this as a keyword to add into our prompt. This can be in a ratio of 16:9. Press enter to start generation. As you can see, we've got 4 options of different species of trees arranged one next to the other. There is a nice variation in the colors, type, and size of these trees. We'll only have to remove the white background from these cutouts, and these will be ready to use in our presentations and renderings. The quality of these trees look really good in terms of the textures, shadows, and the highlights. Let's upscale the second option to look at it in more detail. When we zoom into these images, we are able to see the quality of these elements. They have amazing details in them, and adding these to our presentation can really enhance our drawing. Now let's try the same, but instead of realistic rendering, let's use a watercolor style. You can see the prompt used for this on the screen, and I've included the terms watercolor style drawing with different shades of green and yellow. Now these are some stunning results. There's an amazing gradation in the colors, and the quality of these trees look impeccable. All 4 options generated here are of different types, a detailed, an abstract, and even kind of an illustrative output. Now let's also try to create a marker style output, and for this I've used a maple tree marker style drawing with shades of red and yellow. And the results generated here were absolutely stunning as well. What do you think about these outputs? So similarly, we'll be able to create different trees, shrubs, grass in different colors, sizes, and seasons, and the list goes on. Number 2, create seamless textures. We all spend a lot of time looking for that perfect texture to use in our presentation or in a 3D model. But when we download the perfect texture, we notice that it's not seamless and it gets really annoying. But using MIDJOURNEY, we'll be able to create fully customized seamless textures of any kind. Let's try creating a seamless pavement texture. We type in the prompt on the imagine command as usual, and the prompt for this is realistic grey pavement stone texture. To make it seamless, we type in this command after the prompt. It's _tile. Let's click enter to generate. Now we have some really nice looking outputs, and upon close look, the textures are quite realistic. The small scratches, broken lines, and the colors look really good. Now let's upscale the third option and download it. Now if you're wondering if these textures are really seamless, let's add them in Photoshop and check it out. Let's copy the textures around, and as you can see, the pattern keeps repeating itself on all 4 sides. We'll be able to resize them and scale it to whatever size we want, so these textures are actually seamless. Using this technique, we'll be able to create any kind of unique texture. For example, let's create a white marble with a grey pattern. The prompt is pretty straightforward, and let's type the command _tile. We can also change the resolution and it will still be seamless. In this case, it's 16:9. We have some interesting results here. The prompt we used was pretty general, and we'll be able to create any kind of detailed texture. For example, we can add the keywords describing the pattern of the marble like Calcutta, Crema, or Carrera, and these will create some unique outputs. This technique works with pretty much any kind of pattern like wallpapers, carpets, or even illustrative graphics. So use this technique to create your own library of texture assets. Number 3 is to create presentation board compositions. Sheet composition is something that is overlooked most of the time. We usually use Pinterest or Behance to find inspiration for our sheet presentations. Using MIDJOURNEY, we'll be able to create mock-up presentations that are tailored to suit your design and presentation style. We'll be using MIDJOURNEY to generate an actual presentation board and use it as a template for our own design. In this case, let's create a presentation board of an artist's residence with floor plans, views, perspectives, 3D renders, and text, and also include the keywords as neatly composed sheet with white space and balance. The sheet resolution can be as per your requirement. For this, I'll be using a resolution of 4:7. Let's click enter and we have 4 options. All these sheets have some amazing visuals, but some of these are presentations that are presented on a magazine. So let's go back and regenerate. Now it's the same prompt once again, and this time we have better outputs. We actually have 4 fully designed presentation sheets with some stunning visuals, diagrams and graphics. When we upscale them, each of these are a presentation board of their own. We have floor plans, interior perspectives, elevation views, conceptual diagrams, and some interesting compositions in both vertical and horizontal formats. Based on the drawings and diagrams that we have, we can customize these presentation boards by inputting them as prompts. All the 4 options generated this time look really professional, and all of them can be used as a template for presentation boards. Now let's try a different design, and this time we've used a modern office design with floor plans, isometric views, technical details and so on, and we've also included the term pastel theme. Let's see what the AI comes up with. We have some options and let's upscale the second one. This looks like a really interesting presentation board, and we have images in different ratios. We have square images, horizontal ones, text, floor plans and so on. It has again followed a pastel theme, and this can be an inspiration for our entire presentation and rendering. We generated the prompt once again, and we've got this professional layout that has a rendered perspective, a cutaway section, some technical details, and a really well presented sheet. Now in case if you're wondering how to use these in your own design, here's a simple tip for you. Just download the presentation board and open it in Photoshop. We can then draw rectangles to roughly mark the position of each view. Each of these rectangles can take up a drawing or a diagram of your design. Once we've made these rectangles, all we have to do is drag and drop our design diagrams and drawings into these rectangles and mask them into these rectangles. That way, we'll have a well-presented sheet in a really short time. Of course, we can only use these as inspiration, but this does save a lot of time in trying to figure out a sheet composition and helps us achieve a balanced sheet in a lesser time. Number 4 is to turn sketches into realistic renderings. Now we've all seen images on the internet where you just upload a sketch and AI turns it into a realistic image. Now this is possible with MIDJOURNEY, but it cannot create the exact same details of your sketch since MIDJOURNEY alters your design a little bit. So we can use this feature to create conceptual designs rather than fully completed renderings. Firstly, we need a concept sketch to use in MIDJOURNEY. I'm using Photoshop to create this, and it's a simple concept with a sloped diagonal volume and trees and landscape. Let's upload the sketch in the Discord box. We will then copy the link of the image and use it with the prompt that we are trying to use. So it's /imagine, paste the URL and type in the prompt. As I mentioned, it's a simple prompt of an isometric architectural rendering, a modern office building, sloped terrace, green plants, and I've also included the style of big architects. The first set of images that were generated were a bit rigid, so I altered the prompt a bit to create a dynamic perspective. This was getting closer to the expected view. Let's generate a few more options. Now I chose a view that looks similar to the concept sketch and upscaled it. Now we will use the URL of this image with the prompt that we used earlier. As you can see, it's slowly taking shape, so let's generate one more option to pick the one that suits the best. I found this option to be interesting, so I've upscaled it. Now we'll repeat the process, and this time we will use the URL of the last generated image. I've also used ChatGPT to kind of expand the prompt that we used earlier, and I've also used keywords like golden hour lighting and clouds around. With that, you can see that it's getting more realistic, and I've generated it again to create more options. I like the first option here, so let's upscale it. You can choose to stop here or create more variations from these, and this will be the final output. Number 5 is human cutouts. Now this is one of my personal favorites, This technique works the same way as creating tree cutouts, and using this technique, we'll be able to create fully customizable human figures to suit our project. We usually use Pinterest to download human figures for our presentations, and using MIDJOURNEY, we'll be able to recreate any of these styles. Let's begin with the simple silhouette human figures. We'll use the /emergent command for this, and the prompt can be human figures, silhouette, black turnaround page. Now this has created different kinds of silhouettes that can be used in art, architecture, and for different purposes. The third one looks similar to an architectural silhouette, and we can create variations from these as well. The next one are these illustrative figures with black outlines. Creating these are pretty simple as well. Let's type in the prompt architectural hand-drawn human figures, and we'll also include men, women, and kids to create a variation. We have the results, and these are some high-quality architectural humans that can add a great sense of character to our illustrations or renderings. There's a great variation in the clothing and outfits as well. The next one is to create this illustrative vector-style human figures, and for that, let's type architectural human figures, flat vector illustrations, turnaround page in white background. We have the results, and some of these are some really good illustrative graphics. We'll just have to copy paste them inside Illustrator and make them into a vector file. Number 6. Color palettes for architectural diagrams. Do you want to create floor plans and sections in really unique color palettes? Now it does take a bit of time to mix and match color palettes to see which works the best, but MIDJOURNEY can possibly offer a solution. Let's check it out. Let's type architecture floor plan in various color palettes for inspiration. And we get these floor plan renderings that are quite interesting if you look at it. The first one is a simple watercolor rendering with whites and browns as the dominant color. The second one is a more realistic rendering and has a tone of blues. The third one is quite opposite to it and has an overall warm tone. And the last one uses shades of red and orange. Similarly, we can also describe the kind of colors we want to create our inspiration. For example, let's type in pastel color palettes and see what it creates. This prompt has created a nice pastel tones in shades of pink, beige, and so on. A subtle color variations that look really trendy. Similarly, we can create inspiration for section renderings as well. For example, let's type a 2D section diagram of a villa rendered in blue monochrome color palette. And that created quite some variations. I did some revisions to it, and I ended up with these section images. I remixed them once again, and these were the final results. These are some really unique results that you will find nowhere on the internet. So if you use this color palette for your presentation, it's guaranteed to be unique. So those were the 6 techniques in which architects and students can use MIDJOURNEY for inspiration and for creating assets. If you know any other similar techniques, comment them down below. I hope you found this video to be helpful, and if you did, please hit that like button and share this with your friends. You can follow me on Instagram and the handle is right here. I'll see you on the next one.